Fantastic. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bible Show. Today we'll be revisiting a topic that my mentor used to talk about, I think it still talks about, a couple years back when I was learning about sort of like the human soul and sort of the Rosetta Stone. And for anyone who doesn't know what the Rosetta Stone is, it's like this language learning model that helps people learn languages. The Rosetta Stone. I don't know where the wording came from, but it is very um, it's like a tried and true model that people used to use a lot. Now we have Duolingo, but before there was the Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone. That's a very sophisticated name. So for each cognitive origin, we sort of have sort of functions that they serve under called the nomenclature for its God functions. And so we have 8 cognitive origins: discovery, satisfaction. These are things that people really naturally pursue in life based on their type, and it's what really drives the world forward. It's sort of how all human interactions basically come down to, and sort of a lot of the collective unconscious about people chasing their cognitive origins, people trying to help others achieve their cognitive origins, people trying to cognitive origins interacting with each other. And so this idea of God functions, that each cognitive origin sort of serves under, or could be represented by, a single cognitive function. The cognitive function are sort of the basic mental, basic system or mechanics of the soul falls under. So there's like integrated intuition, NI, desire, extroverted intuition, and there's 8 of them, 8 cognitive functions, and they're sort of rearranged and mixed around to sort of build people's different personality types. So this is just a quick overview of SI: introverted sensing, extroverted sensing, NE, NI, FE, FI, TE, TI. Is that all? That's saying that's all 8. So extroverted thinking, introverted feeling, extroverted feeling, introverted intuition, extroverted intuition. And these are sort of like the building blocks of the soul. The soul is sort of really built off of these cognitive functions. This is off of John Beebe, Linda Behrens, Carl Jung, and Mr. C.S. Joseph, the degree developers of Jungian analytical psychology. And if you take these functions at face value, like introverted thinking is like what you think, what other people think, what you feel, what other people feel, what you want, what other people want, your experience, other people's experience. And this takes us back to this concept of God functions that that all cognitive origins sort of can fall under a single cognitive function. And so the definitive cognitive God function list for each cognitive origin is as follows. So discovery SI, satisfaction NI, justification as FI, validation as TA, achievements as TE, reverence as FE, connection as NE, and authority as SC. So some interesting themes play out here. Like we have some questions, some natural questions that arise, like why are certain cognitive origins associated with certain cognitive functions? Are cognitive origins derived from cognitive functions? So it's sort of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? And like with type, it doesn't matter too much because, or with the soul, it doesn't. Well, it actually is important, but it's not. I think it's as important as the chicken and the egg question because that is like shape, form. It's like a question of form. But I'm pretty sure that the chicken came first because God created human beings out of dust. He didn't create an egg and sperm. He just created humans. So chicken came first. Shouldn't hopefully that people don't give too much attention to that mystery because to me it's pretty obvious what happened. In my humble opinion. So I think off the bat people can see that achievements, it makes sense to be connected with TE, and some natural questions can arise with how reverence is FE or justification is FI, and I'll try to get into that. So we have authority. I'll just go down to up, bottom to top. We have authority, which is SE, which is sort of like other people's experience. Now, how that connects to authority, basically, authority is sort of basically about everybody's experience. We have laws dictating the experience of everybody else. We have sort of basic principles of authority. Don't change things too fast. You don't want to make people uncomfortable, or they're going to revolt against you. We have like just that typical image of like general at war, just really leading his soldiers with great authority by using like a very commanding voice, like giving a certain experience or delivering a speech or preaching or giving commands with a certain tonality, SE, to establish authority or to say something in authoritative voice. And to say something authoritatively, you don't have to always be loud. You can just say it very firm and matter of fact, like Jesus when he spoke the parables, like the way the way Jesus spoke is so. A lot of people question it, but it's just the way he spoke is so strange. Not in a negative connotation, but he spoke with such authority, like he was, like to other people, like he was God, which to Jewish people was blasphemy. But it really was the Son of God, of the Triune God. No one really believed him at the time, though. Most people didn't believe him, but just really see other people's experience is just basically what authority basically is. So by really having good sense, like having full mastery of extroverted sensing, you can really have it's really important, paramount to have great authority in life. And it's really fascinating, even though like types like INFPs have low extroverted sensing. Just their cognitive origin sort of fuels great performance from them, or just authority fuels them to be great for performance. And like SE heroes like ESFPs and ESTPs, they actually have a sort of authority in a way, but just their great performance. So very interesting aspect, very interesting. And yeah, extroverted sensing. If anyone has a good feel for extroverted sensing, I think it's kind of cool to play around with it to see how you can really bend and control authority, or really like have a better feel of the origin of authority, which is with the experience that you deliver to someone. And yeah, with authority, it's always just like the good rule of thumb not to change too fast. Um, so that said, I think probably gonna be. I mean, hopefully we'll have the two-party system in America for a long, long time. I think a lot. I think people wouldn't change, but there's too much change. I think just bad things can happen. But people are going to be uncomfortable with it, and other factions can arise. Like people want to go back to some sort of comfort and order, and maybe the wrong kind of comfort. But yeah, I doubt communism will come back in America. Um, Connection, we have any. It's what other people desire, and so I think that really fits in with connection. It's just connection types want to be desirable. They want to be the person with a bunch of friends. They want to be the person that someone wants to bond with or be friends with. This is why you have like I'm not sure if anyone's seen like Brad Pitt and who's an INFJ with any of his previous partners or relationships. There's like a Brad Pitt meme that he wears like the same exact outfit as his partner. So that's sort of like INFJ's um, bonding right there, or trying to be desirable by trying to sort of be like the other person, and like what other people want of being desirable is super important to connection, to having a connection, because if you have a friend that wants to do like voodoo or something, which is it's, that's definitely a no-go zone, biblically speaking. Don't do voodoo. I highly doubt it works, but sort of if you're not into voodoo and your friend's into voodoo, or your friend's into origami and you're not into origami, your friend wants to do origami, sort of you can sort of lose the connection away because you're different than the other person, or like you don't want the same thing as the other person. So that's how you guys can sort of the start of things maybe go in their separate ways. I mean, that's kind of making it a big deal, but that's just one example of how like to create maximum connections, to have like a good feel for what everybody wants. That can really be the key to having like lots. That's like one of the big keys to having lots of connections, lots of bonds. So like all your friends went to play DDR, I guess. Connect any master would be like, okay, let's get my DDR chops up and play some DDR. DDR is pretty fun, pretty fun. And then we have reverence. So reverence is all about FE mastery, how other people feel, which is I think at face value it's kind of interesting because reverence types can seem like they lack social skills by how like demanding they can be or for respect. But how other people feel and being valued in society, being respected is sort of like the basis of respect, being respected. It's like even with like INTJs seem like the worst defenders. They seem like they lack a lot of social skills. Like when they do pursue their reverence, it's usually within the boundaries of social norms, and social values. They're not the type of people to like really stand out like achievement types or other types. They really sort of try to fit in with the norm. And a great example of this is like Abagnale in the movie Catch Me If You Can. And definitely like having FE mastery, it's sort of it's kind of a cheat code for life if anyone has ever watched that movie. Um, Knowing, like making someone feel the right way, like especially if you're trying to run a con, is super important because usually with a con it falls apart because people feel something's off. Like people feel that you're not a real pilot. But if you can make someone feel the right way about you being a pilot, then you get that respect from them, reverence, sort of basically cat, basically catch me if you can through life. Um, but like INTJs to call it like fake it till you make it or confidence, but it's sort of like social skills mastery. It's making everybody not necessarily feel good. It's just feel the way you want them to feel, whether it be like um, getting your respect or making making yourself a believable person. Um, but at the end of the day, reverence just comes to being accepted by society, and so it really serves under the God function um, of FE, just making everybody feel good. And the mastery of FE, it's sort of like a social skills mastery. Um, so that's definitely like a cheat code in life. One of, well, actually, every God function is just cheat code in life. But like a lot of people really appreciate notice FE mastery because of the INTJs, like just that, especially the movie Catch Me If You Can, just like uh, the feelings you can create and the things you can get away with if you have the social skills. And then we have achievements, which is TE, what other people think. Um, I think achievements really connects with what other people think, because sort of you gotta get a feel for what other people think to achieve things that people think are valuable. And yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory. It's good to get a feel for what everybody thinks, or to have like firm mastery of that. And to be honest, you cannot always gonna know what anybody thinks. So that's why you get like ENTJ, like ENTJ woman. They um, they do like their. It sounds like I'm poking fun, but I'm just using an example like that. They have surveys on their Instagram stories, like, what do you guys think about this? I've seen that a lot. Not to single anyone, I've seen that a lot. Just people asking like ENTJs or ISFPs, like asking people what they think, or ISFPs trying to get just getting a feel for like what's a great achievement out there, what they feel is valuable. Um, yeah, that's T in a nutshell. It's pretty powerful. I think having T mastery, it's good. It helps you correct your reputation like on the fly. Of course, it takes time, but just to be aware of what other people think. And then TI is validation, so that's like logic. Um, TI, it really connects to validation because it's sort of like it's basically it's getting from point A to point B. Like if I want to fix this broken gasket, what's the logic behind that? And TI, I think it think it's I think comes naturally to most people, but some people it's lower in their function stack. Like maybe this is where people get labeled lack of common sense. But this is like the common sense function, and it's very useful in life. But it's hard to say like there's mastery with it because I think there's limits to TI. Well, actually, it's actually pretty unlimited with because the more knowledge you get, the more input you get, the more valuable this becomes. But if you're like the type of person that has understanding or wisdom, which is limited, it's kind of limited in life. It's very useful, very very useful. Like it's very valuable, but I think knowledge really unlocks TI. So I think that's why validation types are in the mind simple learning temple. It really unlocks the full potential of introverted thinking. But I think everyone can use it. Everyone can use it for sure. And justification is like FI, how you feel. I would say justification serves under this God function because it's like ISTJ feels impassioned about getting overcharged at Chick-fil-A. They're gonna stand up for themselves, like because they believe they're justified in their anger that they got overcharged, and they want to talk to the manager. So it's like what you value, what you believe, often leads to your justification. That's why we have the archetype of like ENFPs. They love Jesus, they love the Bible because it's full of justification. It's full of justification, and so that's a great thing for them. And yeah, like what this is like a pretty powerful. It's very powerful, like depending on what you believe in. But if you don't believe in much, I guess it's not that. Um, it's basically just as good as the natural types of justification used, like ENFPs and ISTJs, how they use it. But if you really believe or feel or value something, FI, what you feel, what you value, what you believe in, FI, this God function can go a long way. And satisfaction is all about NI, what you want, desire. And so that's why King Solomon's right when he said men are never satisfied, because that's not a bad thing. It's not something to cause despair. Actually, it can be kind of hopeful, but kind of hopeful, not in a bad way as well. It's like there's always going to be something that people want in life. Like for example, if someone starts playing blackjack at a later age in life, maybe in retirement, I'm sure there's some part of them that, in order to be satisfied, wants to be a semi-decent blackjack player. So there's going to be that desire to be a good blackjack player, and there's going to be dissatisfaction if you're not good at blackjack. So there's always going to be desires in life as we go through things in life. We see things that we want. We hear possibilities of things that we might want. And so that's why King Solomon, the wisest man of all time, well, it did say in Second Kings that there is no man that will be like him. So there's people out there that surpass King Solomon in knowledge and understanding, but maybe not wisdom, but like him. Anyways, a man that the Bible gave a lot of credence and credibility to, said that men will never be satisfied, and that makes sense. Said with satisfaction under the God function of NI. And it's very interesting. ISFJs who have very low NI, they're satisfaction type, so they naturally kind of do what they want, or they pursue what they desire in order to be satisfied. So it's pretty interesting how God functions sort of override people's natural cognitive functions, especially for the case of ISFJs. Their NI is a demon function. It's in the 8th slot in the 1 through 8 stack. So NI mastery, that definitely looks like it's like sort of like got some themes, not themes, but like I guess some examples. Like we have pop culture. I'll give examples of ENTPs, satisfaction types. Like we have James Bond. So I think NI mastery, having mastery or like what you want, your satisfaction, sort of like a James Bond lifestyle, or in American culture you have Benjamin Franklin. I don't know Machiavelli's style, but I heard he was an ENTP. But in Western, European culture, we have like Casanova, there's probably some ENTPs in Greek culture, Greek and ancient Roman, like maybe I don't know any at the top of my head, but really NI mastery. It's sort of like a mastery of what you desire, knowing what you want, like really chasing after what you want. Um, it's like sort of that willpower, which is like really associated with INFJs and INTJs, can really drive. It can really change things in the world. Um, but it's not necessarily enough because NI sometimes needs other tools from other cognitive functions. Like I think everybody has pretty good NI mastery, but I think not necessarily actually. Some people hold back what they want because they're more maybe like duty based. But I definitely do think that just being aware of everything that you want and desire, I think is really important. So I think it's nice to open up your soul and see sort of like the cards you were dealt, sort of like someone's destiny, someone's natural inclination. Um, but I do think it does need other tools. But the by itself, it can be pretty strong. Definitely a force, um, definitely a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, in isolation, it's just sort of like a revolution function, which is I guess everyone has to pick and choose their battles. I think at the current moment, not everyone is looking for a revolution, so it's hard for like that's why the culture, like a lot of people say the culture is not the best right now because people's NI is hampered. So that's yeah, that's a story that about satisfaction or some of the themes of satisfaction and NI. And then we have SI as a God function for discovery, and this is like really about your SI is like introverted sensing, your experience. This fits perfectly well with INTPs and ESFJs, really just exploring everything, getting a feel for their experience. And this is definitely another cheat code in life. Like some INTPs and ESFJs, well, especially INTPs, they go through a lot in life, so they become like very like stoic people, and just their experience, their reality, their introverted sensing, it really it really becomes something that can change change the world. Like for example, we have laws about like certain people because like certain things that happen in life, certain people's realities created laws in life. Like maybe someone was a drunk driver and bad things happen because of them, and now there's laws for drunk driving. There's SE, authority, experted sensing, because of someone's reality SI. And so, like if you're an amazing basketball player, like maybe Shaq, Mr. Shaquille O'Neal, like you break a rim, that's your reality, your SI, and sort of like really produce new rules. Like maybe I'm not sure the NBA had to get better rims because Mr. Shaquille O'Neal, but guess your reality, like whoever you are as a person, your reality, your SI, um, can really be a game changer. And for God, of course, it's his whole essence, his infinite essence. It's someone that can't be controlled, bought, destroyed. That makes very doesn't make him formidable. It makes him the formidable, the epitome of formidable. And yeah, just with SI, your experience, like having lots of experiences in life or collecting experiences really can I think definitely really important as part of discovery. Um, like with NI, there's always new experiences to collect in life, Now, do we want to collect those experiences? Maybe not. Maybe they're not the most enjoyable, but it'll make us like uh, stronger people. Like SI is all about like what not it's all about, but like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it's sort of like a major theme in introverted sensing, like endurance, durability, and maybe like no one wants to be stuck in traffic, but maybe being stuck in traffic is like it really builds patience. Maybe if you go to commute to a job and you're always stuck in traffic, you might be a great fisher with the patience you have, or vice versa. If you're a great fisher, if you enjoy fishing, maybe you have a lot more patience in other fields. So SI is definitely introverted sensing, really collecting, honing, or like improving your reality, or getting new things into reality. Definitely, definitely really cool. But again, it's sort of like sometimes you need the help of other cognitive functions to really help you in those matters. And now that we have God functions out of the way, we have another theme of cognitive battlegrounds, which is sort of like we have orbit, we have axis, which is like sort of the I forgot axis, which is like cognitive functions that are on axis with each other. They kind of rotate around each other. They're sort of within the same quadra of cognitive functions. They have cognitive orbit, which is like gateway functions. So these two would be caught in orbit with each other. These two are in axis with each other. And then we have battlegrounds, which is functions that are opposed to each other, like they're on the complete opposite side. And so it's fascinating. We get this theme with battlegrounds. We have discovery types, which are all about kind of their experience, and authority types, which are all about other people's experience. And so we see this theme play out in life, like discovery types. They're sort of they learn from their own experience, so they're kind of they really lack that edge, maybe in like athletics compared to people with high authority. Because if you're like aware of what other people are experience, you sort of can learn techniques faster. So this theme plays out very often in life. Like if a high discovery user doesn't get early training in life, they can be their technique can come about slowly, and this is where we get like stories from the collective unconscious. Like we have talent versus effort, and sort of we get other themes that play out with more cognitive backgrounds, NE versus NI. We have like fitting in versus being a black sheep and doing what you want. FI versus FE. We have standing up for what you believe in versus being well respected by society. Then we have TI versus T, which is like really TI is like getting from point A to point B regardless of what it is. And T is like sort of doing what other people think is important. So it's really cool. So these God functions sort of really fit in with cognitive battlegrounds. Like this stack, this is an INTP stack, so all their God functions are introverted in their top 4 slot. And so it really makes sense why like INTPs are crusaders, INTPs, ENTPs, ISFJs, ESFJs are sort of they're late bloomers because all their God functions are introverted. Now on paper it seems like they have some extroverted functions, but their God functions, their cognitive origins, they're all introverted. And we have like Wayfarer types, ENTJs, ISFPs, ESFPs, INTJs, like the fast learners. All their God functions are extroverted. So this makes them like very talented, or very capable from just due to their cognitive origins. They just grasp from other people. So like putting like a Wayfarer with like a bunch of talented people can make them insanely talented or extremely skilled with their extroverted cognitive origins, and sort of allowing um, like a crusader to spend time alone and sort of allow them to really hone their introverted functions. But most like other types, like we have INFJs, like Templars, and there are different labels for the Quadros, Templars, and philosophers. They sort of have a mix of introverted and extroverted cognitive origins. But Crusaders and Wayfarers, it's interesting. They have this theme where they have like all introverted origins or all extroverted origins, and it's very fascinating how like these origins play out, and the God functions play out, as well as cognitive, how they play out in cognitive battlegrounds, different themes, like SE types, the authority, like SE God functions like to watch other people. SI types, SI God functions like to learn from their own experience and experiment with maybe different techniques if you're like an INTP or ENTP. And we have like NI God functions, kind of like the black sheep. They want to do what they want. And NE God functions, they want to fit in. So all these different themes play out, and maybe I guess mastery over all these all the God functions really I and I guess it definitely gives a lot of tools to really really like achieve theosis, which is sort of like this um, idea from the Orthodox Church, Christian Orthodox Church, that we sort of become like God throughout our lifetime, and every human being is a God in a way. Sort of like as mentioned, like Psalms, Psalm 31, Psalm 131, something like that. In the Old Testament, like we're all gods in a way. We're created in the image of God, anyways, of course, and we're sort of all godlike in a way. Um, difficult to difficult to sort of like a permanence about us besides like the aging process we go through. There's a permanence about all human beings, and really having access to all these God functions. So like definitely cheat codes, definitely some cheat codes. Like certain cognitive functions are more valuable, like at a certain time period of culture, but I think it's very interesting. Just back to the like starting question, like sort of what came first, cognitive origins or type? And I don't know. I can't answer that. I can't answer that for certain. What came first? Like did God create personality? Well, did he? Was origins derived from cognitive functions, or was cognitive functions derived from origins? It's an interesting question. And to say anything, to say derived, using the word derived in God, it's like doesn't make too much. Sometimes it's not the most appropriate word to use because God is, but I guess that's maybe a closing question to think about. Um, might have a solid answer for next video. What came first? But one question you know for sure is that the chicken came first. Chicken came first, yeah. Um, I forget the keywords for it. It was like God created the animals. He didn't create a bunch. He didn't create a bunch of eggs. He just created animals. There's evidence for that with how he created humans. So yeah, it's sort of God functions and cognitive battlegrounds. Just a quick practical summary. Really developing your God functions is sort of like developing your cognitive origins, and really having mastery over God functions. Sort of like having mastery over kind of like having a better feel, like a more of an extension of your cognitive origins. You can use them. You can definitely use them to their full potential. And if that is the case, it seems like cognitive origins are derived from cognitive functions. So that's something interesting. So I guess the answer to that question there. And cognitive battlegrounds is just certain themes that play out in the soul. Um, and as people get older and they become more well balanced, the topic of cognitive battlegrounds sort of kind of fades away. Like people get older, people learn from others' experience and their own experience. People do what they want, but they also sort of fit in. People fight for what they believe in, but they also want to be respected by society. People kind of do what they think. They do what they think, or as people also want to do what other people think to try to achieve great things. And like some people that are maybe more focused on certain origins, they maybe the themes of cognitive battlegrounds still play out, but for most people, I think we become more developed as we get older, and sort of this theme of battlegrounds sort of fades away. But that's God functions, and yeah, as always, stay safe, stay blessed.